Hey Flosstube, it's Lori of Mischievous Stitches. It is Sunday, April the 29th, and I'm back with a quick video. I know y'all are missing Jacob. I'm sorry I didn't get a video for you guys with him in it. He did leave last Sunday. He was here just shy of 2 weeks and it flew by. We had lots of visitors, lots of dinners, family get-togethers, and before we knew it, the week was gone. So maybe next time. I know he's much more handsome to look at than me, but I'm what you got. So I'm going to show you what I've been working on. I had a finish since you saw me last. I picked up this piece. I thought I would struggle with it a little bit, and I didn't. I had a lot more done on it than I remembered, so it went pretty quickly, and I'm going to give you an overall view, but I'm going to cover up the part with my name. But let me do it like this. This is the piece. And I love how it turned out. Let me fold that top part down. The top part that I'm covering up is the cartouche. It is stitched in 310 over 1 and 1 over 1. And the way that it was charted was to put your name and then put her sampler. So it would have my name and then her sampler, and I didn't like that. Also, I don't just go by my married last name. I go by my maiden and married. So what I did was put my name, maiden name, married name, and then I put the city and state where I live. So that's the reason I didn't want to show it, but I'm going to show you the cartouche down. I really enjoyed this. It's been a while since I have stitched something with specialty stitches, and I just love everything about it. So we have these road stitch tufts of grass, right, Donna Ray? I love these in that they are different sizes. They're scattered out in just a random order. They really add to the lawn here in front of this house. The house itself was stitched with Weeks Dye Works London Fog. Typically when I stitch with overdyed threads, I stitch like I would at DMC. Even though most charts will say stitch one square at the time, I don't do that. But with this I did, and look at the overall effect it gives. It looks just like bricks, or it does to me. I love everything about it. The only difference I can show you in that when I stitched the top portion, of course, I went all the way across, back and forth, and see the stretches of color, the blue color are more, they're wider than in here. Where with stitching between the windows, I started in between, say, these windows and stitched down until I got here. And you can kind of tell that because I told you. But yeah, I love everything about that house. I love the effect that overdye gave it. Also, there are satin stitches in the leaves. The direction that those satin stitches are stitched depends on the direction that the leaf itself is stitched. So see right here, you've got horizontal satin stitches, and here they're vertical. There's also satin stitches in the urns, as well as eyelet stitches in between those satin stitches. And this is Cam's coils. I was kind of worried about those. I'd never stitched them before. The instructions were to take 4 DMC strands, 2 of one color, 2 of another, twirl them around, couch them down, and put French knots in the center. Sounded a little complicated, but basically that's it. I had 2 needles threaded. Both of them were in the fabric. I would park the couching thread to the side. I would take the strand of 4, swirl it around underneath my finger, hope it held, and then couch it down. And I came with this one, I couched and did the French knots as I went. With this one, I saved the couching and the French knots till the end. I love them. I think it's just because, like I said, they're different. I've never stitched them before, but the overall look is wonderful. So there's that. And since that's a finish, this was a whip from January. This was my Nicola Parkman retreat piece, meaning that's the piece. I always kit up a piece when I go on a trip or a retreat. And I found this one in a clearance bin for $1, got the threads, the fabric, and started it while I was there. Since that one is finished, I picked up one of Jacob's. Jacob, if you remember, chose 6 samplers for my sampler year, and I was going to intersperse my current sampler whips with those 6, but I hadn't started one of his. I've been a slacker. So I picked up one of his, and this is Forever Young. This is true to color. I've had trouble getting accurate color pictures with taking pictures in my stitch room in the evenings and posting them on Instagram, but this is true to color. There's only 6 colors in this piece, and the fabric is Confederate Gray by Weeks Dye Works. It's 36 count. I think the pattern calls for 30 count. I really like that. Let me show you the pattern cover. Here are the colors. Maybe it's 7. It's 7 colors, not 6. But here are the colors. And the pattern. This is it. Now someone, I can't remember her name, just finished this on Instagram, and it turned out beautifully. I love this basket. I had also seen where someone had taken just this basket and stitched that as a small, and I may do that. I really love that fruit basket. It kind of looks like bubblegum balls. But in the whole scheme of the pattern, I am here, up. So not quite half, more like a third of the pattern through. So last weekend, I attended a retreat hosted by Katrina Boyd of CrossStitchRetreats.com. If you've not taken a retreat from her, and she's near you, you should check her out. It's very laid back. You kind of come and go as you like. She has patterns, fabric, threads that you can purchase, but pretty much it's just stitching and your friends. So I asked her to come down and host a retreat here near me. She was maybe 10 minutes away from me, and I knew that I would have several stitchers local, because at one time we had a shop and we had an active group, and we still meet here and there. So anyway, I thought that it would be lucrative for her to come and host a retreat there, and it did. Anyway, so there were several floss tubers there. There was Leslie of Under the Sea Fabric. She came in and surprised me. It was a wonderful surprise. She brought her fabrics. There was Nicole of Nicole's Needlework. Donna and Debbie of D Squared were there, as well as Lorraine from Rags to Stitches USA. Did I say Nicole of Nicole? Yeah, I think I did say Nicole. Who else? Jessica, the Schoolhouse Stitcher, was there. Janet Coker from Instagram. She's a Needle in Time. Charlene, I think she is Hands to Work. Is that it, Charlene? If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. There was Karen of Karen's Handiwork. She was there. There was others I don't remember. There was lots of local ladies there that I know and love, and Judy and Pam, Jane and Lynn and Nancy and Sharon. It was great to see them and to hug their necks. And on Friday, Jacob popped in. He did have to work the 2 weeks he was home because he did not have the leave to stretch out over that 2-week period. Just remember, he just went in October, so he does not have leave built up. So he popped in when he left his assignment that day, and I knew he was there before I even saw him, because the sounds of everyone, the excitement of him being there just flowed across the room in waves. And he was just kind of shocked because even those, there were several there, like I said, that was local groups that had been in my home and watched him grow and were even there when I first got pregnant, to those that only know him from Flosstube that were there. And everybody was so kind and just made his day and made mine by making his day. So, but he popped in, and for market, I had asked Katrina to pick up 2 charts from me, and one of them was, you remember I showed this Mama Joan bag, and this was for Prairie Life Sampler. Well, I got it last weekend because that's one of the market retreat pieces that I asked Katrina to pick up for me. And little did I know when I asked for this, I loved the subject matter when I saw it online. I did not realize it's part 3. I do know from Teresa's videos that she just recently finished stitching part 4. I don't know if it's for sale yet. I want to say it's not, but don't quote me on that. But now I want to get the other 2 parts. I also bought this fabric from Leslie. Like I said, I picked up that pattern as well as Prairie Life from Heartstring Samplery. And I bought this fabric from Leslie to stitch it on. Isn't that lovely? Look at that. It's grays and taupey colors in here, and it's called Beach Walk. It's 32 count Beach Walk linen. And that will be what I stitch my Prairie Life on. So those were the things that I had already owed money before I even looked at anything else. But you know, I can't go to a retreat without hitting up a retreat piece. That was my retreat piece, was the Prairie Life, and I actually didn't put a single stitch in it. Can you believe I only put like 30 stitches in all 2 days that I was there? We don't go to retreats to stitch, right? We need to learn what our friends have been up to and what they're stitching, and we need to see what they're buying. And so I did buy this. This is Little House Needleworks Needle Workshop by Hometown. It's the Hometown Holiday Series. I wasn't interested in these for a while. I did not get interested in these until I saw someone take about 4 different ones and stitch them in a row and do their own take on the series. So they're not stitching all of them together, just the ones that appeal to them. And so this is my 5th one that I've chosen, and I think I'm going to do that, just stitch them all in a row, the ones that I like. And I also bought this piece of fabric, and I think it was called Tobacco. It's a 32 count linen, and my friend Dawn was there at the retreat as well. My closest friends, Dawn and Kendra, which was great. That I got to introduce those to my close stitchy friends. But they were right there in the midst of all of us. And Dawn bought a piece of this, and I had to have a piece too, as I just love that color. But this is the sampler I bought. Now this is the actual sampler, and that's the glare in the picture and not in the video. So there's that. This is the actual piece. It's a Chessie and Me. And I was thinking that this was the one released at market this year, and then I saw this week someone had it on their video. I don't remember who it was. And said it was like a release from last year or the year before. But I had picked up several things. I made my mind up I was only going to get one. And what convinced me on this, you've got cute little fruit baskets, which I love. But you see this little guy right here? This little man, he's fully clothed. And maybe it's a woman, I think it's a man. Light blue shirt and white pants and a little bit of legs showing. And then you have the shadow man over here. Totally black, no clothes. So is it a shadow man? Is it the smoking man? Do you get the reference? But he's the one that kind of drew me in on this. So I think there's a reference on Hands Across the Sea samplers that kind of gives you a definition of sampler motif. And I'm wondering if maybe like the shadow, is it a shadow and maybe that's considered sin? If I had to guess, that would be my guess, or that is my guess. But anyway, I know that's one little tiny motif that I had to have it. So did not get the fabric. That's later on in the year. Oh, one person I left out that was at the retreat was Natasha Stitcherella, and she gifted me with this while she was there. She said she thought about stitching it. It was gifted to her by a mutual friend of ours, Lorraine, that works at the Stitch and Frame shop in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And Natasha said she liked this part. And she said, well, I thought, well, maybe I would just stitch that. And then I decided, no, I didn't want to do that. And I knew I would never stitch the sampler, but it looked like something you would like, Lori. And she was right. She knows me too well. I love it. So check that out. That banding it's all about that banding on the side. And that's the name, Sampler 1663, Netherlands something museum. And that leads me into another set of 3 pieces. I will be doing Mania. I am going to do it my way, which that's what everyone seems to promote there on that site. Just do whatever feels right for you. So what feels right for me is I've joined 2 stitch-alongs that will start on May 1st, as well as I've got one that has been screaming my name. And the reason I said that this leads me into that, I love this. I can't remember if I've shown this to you all before, but it has been screaming my name from my basket. So you've got monkeys and birds, beautiful birds, baskets. I love these bandings. I don't know what you call it when you have just a block of a pattern there. And then you've got these. I'm not sure what those are, whether it's just a decoratory motif or if it's a chrysalis maybe. I love this right here. I believe I've got a piece of fabric, white fabric large enough for this, and I may break down and start this in the second half of Mania. Here is the other 2. This is the first one. I showed this a couple videos back, and I know Michelle at the Striped Rose just finished this. I think Linda Jo is in the process or has already finished this. And after seeing Linda Jo stitch it, I had to go out and buy it. And I did put it in my video. And Lynette from Homestead in the Homefront said, hey, let's do a stitch along. So May 1st, no, we're not the only ones. I want to say Misty Purcell and Donna Ray and I want to say Helen is going to be stitching it as well. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But we're all going to start just Mania the 1st on this. And I have one more purchase, but this will be I will start this one on May the 1st too with Jill Millard off of Instagram. This purchase brought to you by Cretia and Trisha. I've been wanting this for a while, but I was just unwilling to pay what I was seeing it going for online. So I hooked up the eBay alerts, and I got an alert one day, and it was something I was willing to pay. So I right then, buy now. And when I got it, I did not realize that that is a Greenville, South Carolina. You know, I'm a Carolina girl. I did not realize that this was by a Carolina designer. But I have the fabric. It's taking, I had to buy a whole yard of fabric. Now, I know Priscilla and Chelsea buy yards of fabric and dye them all at one time for small pieces. I don't think I have ever bought a full yard of cross stitch fabric for anything. I've always bought it to size or bought a fat quarter. But I've got a whole yard of 36 count Edinburgh Platinum linen. But it works out great because remember that Jenny Bean Parlor series that I have number 3? I think I can use most of the other half for the Jenny Bean part and one half for Anne Sand. So there's that. I am going to stitch it in DMC. I'm only going to use overdyes in the heavily covered places like the pond and the grass and the clouds there. I meant to get them last weekend, but as I said, I was too busy talking and laughing that I didn't get them. Okay, I got some gifts this week, some racks, just some goodies from some good friends. Michelle Bendy Stitchy had posted this in one of her Flosstube videos that she had this and did I want it or did I already have it? And of course I went upstairs, took a deep dive in my magazine stash, and I did not have it. I have been crazy this year with Darlene Osteen. And unfortunately, Jacob didn't choose a single Darlene Osteen sampler from me for this year. So she's going to have to wait till next year. Maybe 2019 will be the Darlene Osteen year. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be the Words of Praise year. Maybe it'll be an 80s year. But anyway, so thank you for this, Michelle. I did not have it. I love it. Look how bright and cheerful those colors are. Wonderful, wonderful. Can't stop looking at it. I'm looking at it in the video. Okay. Then Pam and Steph from Just Keep Stitching contacted me and said they were doing a Mania stash dive and they ran across a few Theron Tradition pieces that they didn't think they'd stitch. Did I want them? Sure, I did. This is one of them. This is called the Coral Rose Pendant or Ornament. And it comes with the silk gauze, it comes with the thread, it comes with the pendant with a chain. I love it. Love it. But it doesn't stop there. So they also sent the 1840 Townhouse sampler. Now look at that pattern picture, or look at that picture. You ready? Look at those colors. This has the fabric as well as the threads. Is it similar? Maybe the reds, but I don't see any of those blues and greens and the yellow. And then they also sent this one. This is Welcome Berry Basket, and I told you I'm all about a fruit basket, even though this says berry basket. Berries are fruit. But look at those colors. Now this is just the chart, it's not kitted, but I was so surprised. I thought I was getting 3 charts, and I got 2 kits and a chart. So I love it. So thanks so much, Pam and Steph. Alright, I got 2 other things in the mail this week. They're not something for me to stitch. They're not patterns. This was unexpected. I got it in the mail. I opened it up and I had to fight my emotions. This came from Heather Moore, and she's a Flosstuber here. If you've not took a look at Heather's videos, pop on over and give her a like and a subscribe. She stitched this up for me and framed it. This piece here was designed by Lynette from Homesteading on the Home Front. She's recently designed a few quilt square pieces like this based on Flosstubers. And this is one she had designed from a quilt that I had made and posted on Instagram a couple years ago that when I was first learning to quilt with my friends, and she designed it for me, and Heather stitched it for me and sent it on. This community. Love it. The other thing was, I'm sorry, Barbra contacted me on Instagram, and she had wanted to send something, and she said she was a paper crafter, and pretty much that's all I knew. And look what I got in the mail. She sent it to me in the hopes that I would use it as a memory book for Canaan, which I definitely will. The ribbon says remember. It has a cross for my faith, a little photo frame. But this is using a little golden book, but look how thick that is. It's tied together with ribbon. And I'm not going to show you the whole thing, I'm just going to show you a few pages. This is what I had in mind a few videos ago when I bought some scrapbooking material, but I couldn't find the right book to use. This is kind of what I was going for, or had in my mind. So she's used the pages from the books. She's used a sewing machine and zigzag sewn pieces of pages together. She's hand dyed or tea dyed, stained some pages. Lots of little inserts and things for me to put memories or photos and mementos. Some of the pages are edged with lace. And then you've got the onion skin pages. A hanky. This is something else I've been doing this year, is collecting hankies. And she has zigzags this piece into as a flap for mementos, pictures. Look at the paper clip in the shape of a heart. You are so talented, Barbra. This is exactly what I was looking for. Kind of what I had in my mind, how I wanted to go with a memory book. She nailed it. And she does this as another hobby. I questioned her about it a little before, and she gave me some YouTube video leads to some people that do it too, so I could, do more of this on my own. Think about all the junking that I do too, and being able to pick up books and papers. Just great ideas just in having her piece, and I'm so pleased, and I will definitely treasure this. This is absolutely amazing. You're a talented woman, Barbra. Thank you, thank you. Speaking of hankies, I did at the retreat this week, sweet Charlene brought me another hanky, and look at this lace on the side. Look at that. Ooh, there's two of them. So delicate and fine. Love it, love it, love it. Here's the other. And I'm gathering them up for a quilt, but think of them just as they're used in Barbra's book there. I never would have thought to use them as the tuck slot on the side of a paper like that. So thank you, Charlene. What else? I have been watching a lot of Flosstube. Actually, I've been listening to Flosstube on the way back and forth to work now. I've got an aux cord in my car. I hook my phone up. I'll let you guys play in the background as I'm driving instead of listening to the top 40 or the country music station. So I've enjoyed that. I have been listening to Misty Purcell. If you've not been watching her, go take a look. You should see her halo quilt on the wall behind her that she's in the midst of working on. I've also been watching Kansas City Girl in a Colorado World, Julie. And by the way, Julie, you won my giveaway in my last video. So if you're watching this, drop me a message on Instagram or here in the comments or on Facebook. So I can get your address and get that pattern off to you. Who else have I been watching this week? Amy loves toads. I relate to her a lot. So she's got a son that's in Air Force ROTC. She loves toads. just love her stitch style. If you've not been watching Amy, go take a look. Other than that, I'm going to cut it on out for this week. I hope to see you back next week. No promises. But until then, much love. Hugs and stitches. Bye-bye.